today, really, Southern Conference football against SEC football. I got to tell you something. It's a lot. I think Southern Conference is a lot more exciting because, let's face it, SEC is Alabama and everybody else. When do they play Clemson this year? First round of the playoffs or the championship game? And okay. That's basically the SEC. Now, it's possible Georgia could knock them off. Or, somebody, it's possible, I guess. You got to play the games. Maybe this year Vanderbilt wins it. Maybe somebody digs up Harold Stassen and he beats Donald Trump in the presidency. I've got about the same amount of odds. But you've got a situation right now where there's a crutch phrase right there. Anyway, you've got a situation right now where it's Alabama and anybody. SoCon John Hooper will tell you there are 7 teams he feels that could win the Southern Conference this year. SEC, you got 1. Now you tell me what's more interesting, even if it isn't the highest pay grade. Oh, the joys of living in the Tri-Cities. All right, yes, Marky Billson here. And we're going to talk a little bit about media days. And let's focus in on Jeremy Pruitt here. This is the sort of cliche type of, that you get. This is still playing the music. Forgive me there. This is the sort of cliche that you get when you are at media days. Okay, and so Jeremy Pruitt talking about how his team is all in on his plan. That sort of thing.
And we have a plan as a staff. We've got to execute the plan, and our players, they believe in our vision and the kids that we're recruiting, and it takes a lot that goes into it, and we're continuing to work our plan.
Reading some stuff, Jeremy Pruitt changing the culture. Was there a problem? Think about this. Butch Jones eventually became unlikable. There was the "what do we want from our media" quote. You did have Juan Jennings say, basically he lost the team. I don't think Jeremy Pruitt has done that. In terms of culture, okay, sure, but that always positive. And by the way, I don't care if you're in a more cynical part of the country than East Tennessee. Generally speaking, you're going to be positive when you're talking in such settings and such, or try to develop a positive attitude. I don't care if you're in Loserville, you're going to want to try to change that attitude. Now, there is some ideas. Chuck Noll, the old coach, late great coach of the Steelers, once said, look, if I have to motivate you, I'm going to fire you. Now, that was the NFL, and this is college. I do think that, yes, there is a little bit of that maybe you should have. You don't have to, ball for life, and all those sort of cliches around there. After a while, they get a bit thick, and they get a little bit, okay, yeah, believe in the plan and all that. But then again, who doesn't believe in the plan? That is a cliche. A couple of interesting things, though, that Pruitt had to say that I was kind of impressed by, and some positive, some negative. He spoke of the 16 national championships that his assistant coaching staff was a part of. And I said, you know what, that is a positive right there. Yeah, you want people that know how to win. What I did find interesting is then he also championed at media days the 8 coaches that I've had that have coached in high school, including himself. And, I don't knock at Jeremy Pruitt for wanting to go from high school to head coach at a college, or for that matter, even the pros. Bum Phillips started out at Amarillo High School. That's just somebody that I know. Paul Brown started at Massillon High School. Work your way up. I get it and all that. Bobby Knight, although he didn't coach in the pros, certainly his first year of coaching was out of high school. Then he joined the Army, got in on the West Point coaching staff. The rest is history, all right? I do get that. Better yourself and all this, but I did find it kind of interesting. It's the progression. It teaches progression. What does that mean, teaching progression, Jeremy Pruitt? Because I don't really get that. And also, it's what you went through. You started as a high school coach. I don't take that away from you, but I do almost wonder if championing, I got 8 coaches here who started in high school, it does seem a little small-minded to me, especially when I didn't hear any more, progression. What does that mean? I mean, Pete Carroll regressed, I guess, from the NFL to Southern California. He did pretty well because he knew how to teach the Trojans how to win. And he knew the state-of-the-art methods. He was a pro coach in a pro town that had a college team.
Schumeyer and Associates Audiologists.